It's my privilege to speak in this national seminar on Bhakti movement in South India. And this is happening in Mythic Society. For all scholars, this is the second house. So we have that kind of gratitude and feeling for Mythic Society in our scholarly ventures. The year beginning, Mythic Society and IGNCA had organized a conference on Anand Kumaraswamy, and I had the opportunity to deliver a keynote address on Anand Kumaraswamy's conference. It was an international conference. And now again, fag end of the year, I am here in Mythic Society, so it closes the bracket of opening and closing. I'm thankful to ICHR. The first fellowship of mine starts from ICHR fellowship for my study on Kalyan Chalukya temples, and followed with so many international and national scholarships, fellowships. So I owe to ICHR for this, always supporting the scholarly work and publications. I'm thankful to Dr. Aruni and thinking about me to speak on this subject. This is my first research. Dance and music in temple architecture was my PhD topic. I have been associated with the temple, temple literature, temple arts, material culture connected to temples, and of course, literature. Without literature, we cannot go ahead. It goes along with all these, thoughts. So I have been associated with this concept as an archaeologist and historian. Temple architecture is very important for me because it is I call it as hardware. And what is more important, that is what we call it as intangible cultural heritage, is the rituals. Why the temples are built? Not for art's sake. They were built with functional reason. So that is how we started with. We always think, what is our primary source for anything to think about Indian or our thought process is Vedic sources. We go and see there, and then we start our work and going to other thoughts, even Jain and Buddhist, and even later. All these things are associated with us. Then we have that holistic understanding of India. Otherwise, we will be deprived of knowing what is India. So in this connection, I say that I have been working on, one is dance and music in temple architecture. Being basically, I was trained as a Bharatanatyam dancer in Bengaluru and given more than 500 performances all over. And when I took my research as important, my professor said, Professor A.V. Narsimurthy from Mysore University, he said, Choodamani, please select either stage or research. Because at that time, I was going with so many performances and my research was behind. So he said, please take a decision. So in Belur temple, I performed as Shantala in a 3 hours ballet. So Shantala, there S.K. Ramchandra Rao had written that script. And she goes and takes a lekhana and ends her life. I did that, and that was my realization. I said, let me come to Gnanapath part, then performance. So then I decided goodbye to stage, but academically I'm associated with dance. So I started working. Then what is temple? Why dance became so important in temples? You go from Avantipur, Kashmir, to come to Kanyakumari temple. There will be Dwarapalikas or Dwarapalakas in the dance movement. Starting from there to even Dwaraka and this side we have Bhuvaneshwar. Go to all these places, you find so many innumerable, you can't count. I took one, documentation part of it, calculating or counting the dance sculptures of Ramappa temple. So it was 600 sculptures of dance I was able to count. And that is 6 feet to 6 inches. That is the range you find in all sizes. So I was wondering why dance was so important in all this. That made me to go into that research, hard work. They selected more than 50 temples in Karnataka, and it was field work oriented plus multidisciplinary, and Mythic Society was responsible for the success, the library. So after that, I did the rituals. How the rituals are important, then I took that part, and then material culture like puja samagris and jewelry, rathas. Why these are all these things are associated even today. It satisfies the aspirations of the people. Why Mysore Rajavadiyar in Melkote, I think yesterday Rajaram Hegdeji was saying that bhaktas are not represented. But in Melkote temple, in front of, Chalvanarayana, you have the Rajavadiyar's small, sculpture. The bhakta is standing and always looking at God. See, this kind of, I started working and then finally Melkote, then Ramappa temple. So I'm associated with temple person, you can say. Though there are other, my, historical things are there, but emotionally I'm connected with temples. And scientifically I look at it. So to me, it is temples are two aspects of cultural heritage, tangible and intangible. Tangible is the structure what we see, the units of the temple, Garbhagriha, then Rangamandapa, then vestibule, all those things. Then intangible is the rituals that happens. So to tell in the for the youngsters how the temples functional, I call it as it is combination of hardware and software. So when you use your computer, here we have this. If only laptop is there, we can't work. You need software to run the PPT. And if it's only software is enough, if you don't have laptop, I can't even use it. So it is the relationship between hardware and software. That is what is tangible, intangible. That is what is temple and rituals. This is my understanding, humble understanding of the temples. Friends, coming to dance, mode of Bhakti movement in South India. Bhakti Marga, a great sequel to the Hindu integrity during the later phase of the ancient period of Indian history, has enriched the lives of the common people. Visual arts like architecture, painting, sculpture, and performing arts like dance, music, theatre captivated the minds of common people and served as the mode to involve the populace, to engage their minds towards the spiritual tenets leading to the Bhakti Marga. Dance being one of the significant Indian performing arts, has a specific and significant background, is well associated with strong roots of existence of our cultural past. Today, it is a powerful medium for recapitulating and preserving our cultural heritage. It has no doubt a richly layered symbolism that recalls the history of over 5,000 years in terms of efficacy and creativity in the realms of art, philosophy, and literature. Dance, and even other fine arts like music, drama, sculpture, and painting in their classical form have originated with common ideology. All these art forms have common objective of upasana or worship. They follow different means and techniques in their exposition. The thematic sources they deal is evidently emerged through culturally oriented thoughts, historical understanding, devotional literary traditions, and deep rooted expression towards Bhakti Bhava. The temples of India are a living testimony to the efficacy of the sacred world of consecrated image. They are integral to the conception of enlivened image. Art historians and archaeologists have so far been interested only in archaeological monuments and not in living traditions or modes of worship. The temples were considered as architectural edifices of only historical interest. It's not so. So, even Hegdeji was telling yesterday that the living traditions are not taken seriously. It's only the ancient past. It is required, no doubt, but we also have to respect the living traditions. There we see the essence of how it has existed. Let us start. So here, I just want to draw your attention. Dance as the mode of Bhakti movement in South India, there are four main domains to understand this area of research. The first one is historiography and main phases of Bhakti movement. That we are seeing that since yesterday, all of us are, part of that, how to work on historiography of Bhakti movement. I think this is going to be a huge project. If ICHR and Mythic Society, they start taking this as a huge project, and then many of researchers can be involved, and I think we'll be giving a proper, strong, concrete, work for the Bhakti movement. You have to plan for that and allow the youngsters to join this, understanding. So the second one, historiography of dance. See, if you start studying architecture, you will be studying so many, aspects, so many elements, so many things associated with architecture, temple architecture. Trace out the historiography. It's not for the rituals you take, for the literature, for dance, music, you take any art. You will trace the historiography along with temple architecture. So the third one is historiography of dance as the integral part of temple rituals, temple architecture and Bhakti movement. It is the integral part of Bhakti movement. And lastly, dance of gods. This is what is important. Otherwise, dance would have been dumped as an art, but it was taken seriously because all dance sculptures are danced by gods. So when God is dancing, what kind of thing will happen to you? When the literature talks about that dance, what happens to you? When somebody sings all those things in the temple, atmosphere, what happens to you? So that is what we see, the dance of God and the iconography. Now, we dance for laughter, we dance for tears, we dance for madness, we dance for fears, we dance for hopes, we dance for screams. We are the dancers, we create the dreams. Albert Einstein. He also, was mesmerized by the art of dance. But those are all the feelings. Beyond that, beyond all these, what he has quoted, dance is a divine expression. He has not said that. Dance is a divine expression, symbolic significance in Indian temple architecture, thus depicted on Indian art since several millennia. It's not just today or 500 years, it is millennia. Bhakti movement in India, I call it as a defensive mechanism. Many people condemn caste. I feel it is a defensive mechanism in Indian social history. It was needed. So, it's a defensive mechanism against the disintegration of cultural cohesiveness, strongly expressed, communicated through what? Through music, dance, theatre, architecture, sculpture, painting, and temple arts. Temple arts with rituals and festivals. These expressive art forms are the inner strength and core elements of divine expression to understand our past and their relative relevance in contemporary times. All are required. What is dance then? Dance is a classical heritage of our country. It has historical development like sculpture, painting, and architecture. Dance, a divine expression of Bhakti Marga, and it is basically Madhura Bhakti. So it can be interpreted as Madhura Bhakti. If you take Jayadeva, it is Sringara Bhakti. Mimamsa. Since yesterday we are listening to this, most of you have talked about it. So it is Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, which is also known as Sankarsha Kanda, and Gnana Kanda. So, Upasana stresses. So, let us take Upasana. I am not going to talk about other things, I am only concentrating on the Upasana. Upasana stresses devotion, that is bhakti, incorporating both ritual and wisdom that are in consonance with devotion. This is the agamic approach. Yesterday, even our senior Professor Jamkhedkarji also mentioned the importance of agama. Whether it is Jain or Hindu, agamas have their own place. So, this is the agamic approach that has prevailed in the country for the simple reason that it has appeal for the popular as well as the elite. This is given by S.K. Ramchandra Rao. You all know how much he has worked on the concepts of agamas and other things. So, from here, Upasana, Agama, the singing poems and dancing in praise of the countenance of gods continued in Indian traditions. From here it started and it brought out into practice. The yajna rituals were transformed to agamic rituals. This, personally, I have experienced this. How Vedic rituals have been transformed into agamic rituals. 10 days documentation we did for IGNCA Delhi. At that time, I realized how all these Vedic things have been transformed to agamic, which comes into the temples. So, we have Shaivagama, Vaishnavagama, Shaktagama, and The high and impact of Bhagavad Gita, Trimarga, is Jnana, Karma and Bhakti Yoga. You have been listening to that. Now, Nayanmars, Alvars, Haridasas, Sankirtakas, Vakharis, singers, dancers, musicians, garland makers, craftsmen, sculptors, painters, priests, chanters, cooks who prepare bhog, and all the people associated in daily rituals and special ceremonies and festivals engulfed in Bhakti Bhav, thronged for the Divya Darshana of God. This was their, intense feeling while working in service. So, historiography of main phases of Bhakti movement, which I don't want to go into the details. You have the Acharya Trayas, that is Shankara, Ramanuja, and Madhva. You have been listening to all that. We also saw that how the Prabandhas, Divya Prabandhas were so important, and how the Kirtanas, as just now you had listened to Lalitambika talking about the Purandaradasas and other Kirtanas, how influential they were, and they all have the concept of Madhura Bhakti. So now come to dance. Is the significant Indian performing art specific and significant background? It's not just for somebody's sake dancing. It has. And then today it is a powerful medium of cultural expression. And with richly layered symbolism, dance, other fine arts like other fine arts, and all these art forms, common objective, that is upasana. That is what we have seen. Now, this is our great Natesha from Badami cave, and my research started with this Murti. My PhD research started with this one particular sculpture. If you allow me to speak on this sculpture, I may take 3 hours. It has so much, content in it. So this Natesha, dancing Shiva, which was created in 560, much, much earlier than what we see in Tamil Nadu or Orissa or any parts of India. This is the first and foremost, earliest dance sculpture giving Natya Gama. So somebody was asking me the question recently, why 18 hands? Because nowhere Shiva has been talked about 18 hands in any of the sutras or anything. But why in Badami, it was created? I also thought, yes, this is a great question which I had not thought at that time. I only, talked about what is there in the hands. I thought about, pondered for 3-4 days. Then I realized the sculptor was dance conscious who created it. He wanted to depict in right hand all the Nritya Hastas. We don't say mudra in dance literature. The word used as Hastabhinaya. So he has given all the Hastas, 9 Hastas. There is Kapitha, there is Pataka, there is Shukatunda, and there is Mushti, there is Shikara, all 9. And this side, you have the combination of Trishula and the Veena and other attributes, also some. And one more interesting thing is the Vadya. You can see there Vadya, which was played. It's a very special Vadya. Till Mridanga has not come into existence. Today you see, when you see the dance performance, there will be Mridanga. It's not Mridanga. So one is Dardura, that is the lengthy one, and the side one, that means to say he should be specialist in beating here, not like comfortably today's, beating. So he has to beat here, he has to beat here. So it was Adda Uja, this side, and this is Dardura, the 2 combination. So this is the first dance, sculpture I can say in the world. It has the Chatura, Karana, he wanted not crossed leg, what we have in Chola Nataraja. He is comfortably putting the chatura and giving so beautiful movement. You can enjoy. And unfortunately today it is closed. For restoration purposes, this whole sculpture is closed. Okay, let's go. Let me go a little faster. This is Shaiva saint started singing about dance, you can see here. And this is Shiva in Aihole, teaching dance to Saptamatrakas. See, he is a teacher, Natyacharya. Shiva as Natyacharya, teaching all the Saptamatrakas around. And the movement that he is very difficult movement, it is known as Parivrutta Karana, according to Natya Shastra. Parivrutta is very difficult to show in sculpture. Our Badami sculptor, Chalukyan sculptor, is great, very creative, and he has shown that, twisting of the shaft. It's very difficult to do that. Even practicing dancers, they find it very difficult to do that. And he is in that Parivrutta Karana. In Brihadeshwara temple, we have the Parivrutta Karana. There is no movement. It is static. But our Chalukyan sculptor, they are highly creative. They use Karana in creative way. Okay, next. So, cosmic dance of Shiva has become very interesting subject. All over the temples you find the dance sculptures in cosmic dance. This is from Ellora, that is from Kailasanatha, Kanchipuram, and this is our Pattadakkal, Virupaksha and Sangameshwara temples. The dance of Shiva, Shiva Tandava, the cosmic dance of Shiva. So, you see the Ardhanarishwara. See, their aesthetic sense of portraying Ardhanarishwara, the best here in Aihole. There are so many Ardhanarishwara I have documented, but I rate this as the best. So, there you see the movement in dance, you can represent them. In Halebid temple, I think when I was trying that, somebody has taken the picture maybe about 25 years back. Yes, and this is the entire philosophy of Indian philosophy is here, you can interpret in this Chola bronze Nataraja from National Museum, Delhi. So, Rajaraja Chola used to call him as Adavallavan. He didn't call it as Nataraja. You don't have that term Nataraja. So it is Adavallavan. So this is, that what you are seeing is CERN Lab Genova. And they perform Shivratri for this image. They perform, all of them. Scientists, they are all scientists. And Fritz Capra, he talked about the Tandava, and it goes beyond time and space. What is the Tandava of Shiva? And dancing divinities, that has created, women to dance. It influenced women to dance. You have Saraswati here, Lakshmi on the lotus platform, she is dancing, and Bhairavi, in her terrific form, so beautifully she is doing with the Kapita Hasta and the Dola and dancing so beautifully. It's so interesting to see all of them in Hoysala period. So Bhagavata, we have been talking about Bhagavata, and just now she expressed that, in the temple you feel that, Krishna is going with the cows. Gopala, hogta idane. ಗೋವುಗಳನ್ನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Look at the way, how it is depicted in our. So it is the divine form of Paravasudeva. Of all the images in the world, I surrender to Paravasadeva. That is the Melukote Paravasadeva. And you have Ramanujacharya sitting and praying, and the Alvars in Melkote temple. Now we come to Madhva. So there you have seen Ramanuja, Shankara in Tandava and Bhajagovindam. What a great lyrics. It is adopted to dance today. And I saw that, Dr. Nandita's institution about 4 years back, they performed, the dance troupe performed Bhajagovindam. Such a great, it's philosophic, but it can bring to the dance and the people. So here you see all our great saints and Madhvacharya. Just, I'm not competent to talk about Madhvacharya. I can only bow my head, that's all. And the Vadiraja, such a great, I call him a Gnani only. Beyond that, I can't see anything. He is such a Gnani, Vadiraja, and of course Vyasaraya. Kanakadasa, we have listened to Chaitra, how he beautifully brought Kanakadasa and the question. Krishnani Begane Baro is one of the composition of Vyasaraya. And every dancer feel that without learning Krishnani Begane Baro, their life is not complete. They have to perform. When they perform, they forget where they are. So he says, Taige Bayalli Jagavanne Torida Jagadodharaka Namma Udupi Krishna. So beautiful. And there it is Podavi Godaya Udupi Krishna. Yaru even Udupi Krishna? Podavi Godaya avanu. And Bagilanu Teredu Seveyanu Kodo Hariye. ಕೂಗಿದರು ಧ್ವನಿ ಕೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲವೇ? ಅದನ್ನು ಎಮೋಷ್ನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ. ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಗಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಭಕ್ತಿ. ಒಂದೇ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಭಕ್ತಿ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಉಡುಪಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್. ವಿಠಲ, ವಾರ್ಖರಿ ವಿಠಲ. ಇಫ್ ಸಮನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಪುಟಿಂಗ್ ವಿಠಲ, 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 all of us will start dancing. It has that power. Vithala. And Purandara Vithala. Because Vithala, Pandrapura Vithala is known as Kanadi Vithala. He belongs to Karnataka. So Purandara Dasa is a great, follower of that Vithala Varkari Sampradaya. And he sang Adisidalu Yashoda Jagadodharana in Aprameya temple. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಹಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳೆ ಶೋಧ ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರ. ಜಯದೇವ, ಜಯದೇವನ ಗೀತ್ ಗೋವಿಂದ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಶೃಂಗಾರ ಭಕ್ತಿ. ಮೆನಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಸೇ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎರಾಟಿಕ್. ವೇ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ 40 years ago, there was a first conference in India on Geet Govinda, organized by her name was Durga, AKS Durga from Chennai. She organized and she gave subjects to all of us to work on Geeta Govinda from different perspectives. For me, she gave me Geeta Govinda and paintings. So I studied all paintings before presenting. So Geeta Govinda is the fascinating subject and which gives the Shringara Bhakti, and that is Jagannath. And the 16 Shodashopacharas which are there first started in Brihadeshwara temple and then followed with the Rangabhoga, Angabhoga. These concepts we see in most of Karnataka inscriptions. You don't find in other inscriptions. It is Karnataka inscriptions. Rangabhoga, Angabhoga. So the great builder Rajaraja Chola, in the inscription on the wall, he says that there were 400 dancers appointed to perform. And among them, most of them were from Karnataka. Karunadu, he uses the word Karunadu. So you see that, then I remember Itigi. Itigi Mahadeva temple had the dancers, great dancers. So dance as the symbol of bhakti and it is inner expression. And for that we have the Nandi Mantapa Pattadakal Nartaki. And that is myself trying to see whether we can come into the force. So that's maybe about 40 years back. So then, this I'm going fast. You can just enjoy these. The Salabanjikas, Dwarapalakas, the dancers as Dwarapalakas, the tree and woman associated. Then you find them commonly called as Salabanjikas or Madanikas. In Karnataka we call Madanikas. That is more appropriate for us. So these are the Dwarapalakas. You can see even the Ganga Yamuna were used as Dwarapalakas in Vijayanagar period. And this is the dancing movement that you find in the Ramappa temple pillars. These are the things. And even on the Shikara of Dambad, if you closely watch the Shikara of the Dambad temple, Dodabasappa temple, you will see the dancers there. So these are various, that is Kidrapura, Kalyan Chalukya period, beautiful temple. When you have to cross Krishna, that's the border between Karnataka and Maharashtra. When you cross that, you see the Kidrapura and this temple, all dancers. And the Darpana Sundari is one of the fascinating subject for all the sculptors of all the period. So you can see the Darpana Sundaris here, and in dance even today, they use Darpana Sundaris in performance. And this is the Perani Nritya. Perani Nritya is first in Karnataka. Later, you see in Ramappa temple. So that is why Andhra, they claim that it is Perani is ours. But historically, it starts from Karnataka. So, but it lives in Karnataka as Viragasi. Perani is a dance form. Only men can dance, not the women. They are Shiva Bhaktas. So, performing during either the battle or going to the battle or some kind of virile movements, you can see the Gejje. So these are some of the things which I just draw your attention why dance sculptures are important historically for historians. Dancers, of course, they can correct themselves by looking at these sculptures, but for it is the fine intuitive experience into art forms like painting, music. They yield different ranges of satisfaction over a period of time. They establish ways of identity, and they are also records, historical records. If at all we are missing any gaps, we can build up those gaps from this. ಈಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಲಲಿತಾಂಬ ಅವರು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ವಂತವಾಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ದೇವರು ನಮಗೆ ಅಂತ. ದ ವೇ ಯು ಶೋ ಯುವರ್ ಭಕ್ತಿ, ಹಿ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಯುವರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಲಗಿ ಪರಮಾದರದಿ ಪಾಡಿದರೆ I am not able to stand, I am not well, I lie down, but I will sing. So if I sing with devotion, what God will do, what our Keshava will do, He will sit and listen to you. Others to know about this, the meaning of this. So when you lie down and I am not able to stand and sing, so I will be lying down and singing. What you will do, God, He will sit straight and listen to you. Now I am able to sit. I will sit and sing. If I start singing sitting, He will come and stand near you. You are sitting, but He is standing. So if I stand and sing, He will start dancing. He will listen to you, but He will be dancing. If you are dancing, See why the Haridasa started dancing. If I start dancing, you will be protecting. ಒಲಿವ ನೀನು ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಬಿಡ್ತೀಯ. ಸುಲಭನೋ ಹರಿ ತನ್ನವರನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅರೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಗಲನು. ನಾಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಎ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ he leaves you. He is so simple. Only you have to have that bhakti. So that is what. That is why we have one tradition, I don't know in other places whether it has, Harivana Seve. Particularly in Udupi, even our Pejavar Swamiji also used to do that on Ekadasi. After the whole day they will be fasting, not even water, just tirtha. And in the night, there will be in a Harivana, that is a big plate, tulsi plant will be put there in cut and put, ದಳಗಳನ್ನು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ತಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಕೋತಾರೆ, ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ಓಡಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸೇ ದೇ ಫೀಲ್ ದಟ್ ಬೈ ಹರಿವಾಣ ಸೇವೆ, ಬೈ ಡಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್, ಗಾಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬ್ಲೆಸ್ ದೆಮ್. ದೇ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸರ್ ಟು ಹಿಮ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಈವನ್ ಟುಡೇ. ತಾವು ಹೇಳಿ ತಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಉಡುಪಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಆನ್ ಏಕಾದಶಿ ನೈಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್. So with this I would like to conclude, and no doubt I took little longer because the subject is like that. I can't do justice if I just show some pictures and go from here. And I am thankful, and I have written the complete paper. That was only abstract, is the presentation. The third is complete paper. So that's also ready. And I am thankful to all of you to be here and able to listen. Thank you, Ananda.